Okay, so in yesterday's Monday Night Live show, there was a very interesting question by somebody who was asking about the 2018, 2019 Proton Perdana, which is essentially a reskin Honda Accord. Now, that question got me thinking about sharing with you the kind of challenges in maintaining old Proton cars. And this is something that I speak with some degree of experience, having previously owned a Wajah for 13 years and seeing parts supply slowly dwindling towards the end of my ownership. The gentleman who was asking the question yesterday, he was thinking between a used X70 versus a used Perdana. And he was thinking he prefers the reliability of the Honda engine, of the Perdana, which is legit, all right? The Accord is a reliable vehicle. I mean, suspension wear is common, but it's a reliable car, and it is not one that would likely frequently put you on the flatbed and set you back, 5 figures, 4 figures of repair bills every time you go into the workshop. All right. The problem that you will face with that second generation Perdana will not be mechanical. The problem that you will face with that car is that you cannot afford to get involved in an accident at all. Proton was supposed to committed to make, I remember reading that, they were committed to make 4,000 units of that car. They did not hit that volume, okay? So it means that they only sold about 2,000 or 3,000 units, right? And 2,000 or 3,000 units of car with unique headlights, unique tail lights, unique bumper, unique metal body panels, unique glass windows. Who's going to hold stock of all these items? So the thing is that it is a car that literally, I mean, it's 40,000 ringgit. So you say it's expensive, it's not. And it is a very beautifully styled car. But let's put it this way. The moment you langgar and you break break your headlight or you break your tail light, you'll be in for a big headache. Chances are your car might not even be repairable. Not because the damage is severe, but simply because there is no parts for you to replace. And because there are only 2,000 or 3,000 units of these cars, no manufacturer will take up the challenge of making parts for these cars. All right. This is in contrast with, let's say, for example, like a BMW E39, where BMW sold over 2 million units of these. There are plenty of examples, not just in Malaysia, around the world. Even if Malaysia don't have the parts, you can source it from overseas. You can source it from UK, Germany, or some obscure European country. With a Perdana, you can't. You can buy suspension and engine parts from Honda, but all the Proton unique parts for that model, you will not be able to find anywhere. And this is true to another extent to almost any of the old Proton models, right? Like, for example, like if you remember, it took Proton about, I think, at least 10 to 15 years just to hit 500,000 cars. So the economies of scale for these cars are very, very low. There are only a handful there are not many people who would see the point of investing in the tooling, investing in all the necessary facilities to produce replacement parts for these cars if Proton themselves do not fund it. If Proton themselves do not invest in it, no aftermarket parts supplier will make parts for these cars. If you talk about, let's say, like maybe oil filter or gasket for Campro engine, possible, because there's Campro engine they use across a wide generation of cars, Wajah, Saga, Exora, Gen 2, a lot. The volume of that engine is a lot. Maybe suspension parts also shared commonly amongst many models. But if let's say you want to look for Satria new tail light, Satria new headlight, Gen 2 headlight, the clock in the Gen 2 dashboard, good luck. It's not easy. And to illustrate my point, I invite you to go to Google now and search for my Proton makeover. So this was an official project that Proton R3 undertook, I think about 10, 15 years ago. I remember I was there to see one of these cars up close. They actually had a contest for owners of old Proton cars, like Vira, Saga, all this, right, to submit their cars. And Proton R3 will give these cars a full makeover, rejuvenate these cars for them to look brand new. Now, imagine Proton R3. These people are sitting inside the Proton factory. They have access to Proton parts. And even these guys, their work also, they had to resort to aftermarket parts for their Saga and their Vira project. A lot of original parts for all those old Proton models that are no longer in production, they are no longer available. You know, all the Waja, Gen 2, all those parts, right? Cosmetic parts are finding them be very, very difficult. And you want to get half cut, well, sorry to say, the selection of half cuts available in the market are also not entirely appealing. A lot of them are very, very badly abused cars. And that is sad because I see that all these classic Proton cars, the old Sagas, the Iswaras, the Viras, the Wajas, all these cars that are integral in the fabric of Malaysian society. A lot of us, you know, those of us who grew up in the 90s, many of us grew up with a Proton Vira in our household, right? So I dare say that for majority of Malaysians, cars like the Saga, the Vira were formative elements of our childhood. And it is very, very unfortunate it's more difficult to keep these cars in pristine original condition than it is a classic BMW, right? So that's why I have a very high level of respect for, you know, the likes of Dream Street Restoration or this other guy, Saga Pekak, whose work is restoring old Proton cars to almost factory-like condition. And I challenge you, if, you know, to try and help me find parts for, let's say, like a Magma. Don't even say 8 watt. 8 watt lagi susah. Just find original parts for a 12 watt Magma Proton, 12 watt megawatt Proton Saga. Good luck. It's not easy. The challenge really in running and preserving all these old Proton cars is actually more difficult than it would be with a classic Conti. It's not easy, okay? So that's why if I see like an old Proton Saga, that the body is straight, that the lights are intact, it's still in original factory condition, you don't be surprised that the owner is actually a relatively wealthy person because it takes considerable resources to keep these cars running in that kind of condition, all right? It's even more challenging than to do the same in classic BMW or Mercedes. So yeah, if you own a classic Proton, or if you know somebody who owns a classic Proton and is able to keep the car in pristine shape, let me know in the comment section below. I believe these cars are special in the Malaysian context, right? It's not easy to upkeep them. Let's put it this way. If you were to pay me money to restore, let's say, like a BMW E39, E36, I'll take it in a heartbeat. But if you are to task me with the same to do it in a Proton Saga, I consider that to be a bigger challenge. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.